What's up everybody, I'm Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer. This is my YouTube channel, Coded Design, where I teach coding and graphic design. In this video, we are just gonna get into HTML and just see a thing or two about the default styles. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are just going to open a div. Open a div and then let's just say box 1, and then another div element and then say box 2. And then what we can do also here, let's just put a p tag, a paragraph tag. Let's just say para, and then let's put an image or a link tag, which is a, and this is a link tag. Okay, so this is just basic HTML elements, nothing much, nothing less. Let me just put some space in between so that it can be clear. So what I want to teach you in this video, I want to show you the default styles, HTML style. I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it or to phrase it, but what I'm trying to show you is that what happens when you just put an, let's say, an element in an HTML page. What are the things that are going to be there by default that might maybe you might not be aware of, and when you want to take a full control of the element, there might be a challenge a little bit. So I hope this is going to be clear as we do it. Let's just refresh our browser and see what's in there. As you can see, we've got box 1, we've got paragraph 1, we've got a link tag, and we've also got another box. Okay, let's go back here, and between these let's put an image tag. Okay, an image tag with nothing. Let's just refresh and see. Okay, it doesn't show, that's not a problem. Okay, now let's just change the color of this to gray. And what is it? Also, when you are here in Visual Studio Code, you can change the color from here as you want. Back to what we have learned in the previous videos, this is the RGB values. As you can see, what did we say about transparency? As you can see, there is another value here setting the transparency. So that is it. That means we are continuing, we are learning, we are gaining knowledge. So let's just jump straight to the browser and refresh. Now the background is gray, at least it's not that green. Okay, now first of all, let's inspect what's going on here. Why must we inspect? Because we didn't do any CSS, we didn't style these elements besides only the background, which is gray. So let's just inspect and see what are the default styles that are there. So how are we going to see that? We're going to inspect the element and then we're going to make some changes. Let's see. Okay, this is the element. First of all, in the previous video we said that the div element automatically, as you can see, they occupy the whole space. So if you put another div won't go and sit next to this one. As you can see, it just occupies the whole space. So that's the first thing that we are learning. What else? And then as you can see, this orange part here on top of this paragraph and below this paragraph. And also let's check in the, okay, we don't have it in the in the div, but in the paragraph we have. What about the image? Obviously the image has got nothing in it, so that's why it doesn't show. Okay, what we are going to do, I want the image to show because we are going to learn something from it. Let me say it's pexels.com. Let me just check this website and grab an image link from there and see what we can do. I want that image to be there because it's going to teach us a thing or two. It's going to teach us a thing or two about the default styles. Okay, let's just put. Okay, so since we are already here, an image tag, it's one of those tags that doesn't have a corresponding closing tag. As you can see, the body, you open it here, you close it here. The paragraph, you open it here, you close it here. But the image is one of those tags that you don't have a closing tag for it. Okay, let me take this link and paste it here, and then say link 1. This one is going to be link tag 1, and this one is going to be link tag 2. So what I'm hoping to show you in this video, it's those styles that come with HTML by default, those ones that you have to override, you have to change. Okay, and then let me just make my life easier. Let me style this image just to control the height of it so that it can be small. The height of it, let's make it 90 pixels. Okay, let's see. Okay, blocked across what. Okay, let me just search on the internet. I don't know why this is blocked. Okay, the random picture generator. Let me just check another website. Okay, let's just go here. The other option that we can do if we can't get the image online, let's say, okay, the other thing what we can do, we can download the picture locally and save it in our desktop. Save it in the folder directory, and that is it. So here online I was just trying to do a very quick way so that I can show you. Let's put it in that folder where we want it to be. Okay, as an alternative front end jQuery. Okay, that's it. Pick. Okay. Save as. Let's check this one. The first one, I don't like that format. This one is a JPG, so this one I'm sure. Okay, this one is a JPG, that's why I will prefer this one, the JPEG one. Okay, you see this one is still loading. Obviously we have decided to make some other alternative. So as you can see that we've got pic2 here .jpeg. So in this source, if this link is giving us some issues and I don't know why, then let's just reference pic2, which is this one. So now we are sure that our picture is there. Okay, I don't think we need this. I don't think also we need this. Okay, now let's refresh and see. Okay, here is the picture. Okay, Now in this tutorial, what I want to show you is, you see this div box 1 and this paragraph box 1, they are right beneath each other. Like this one is beneath this one, is beneath this one. Now let's look at the links. You see the links, they are aligned horizontally, meaning that one next to the other. And then the box, again, as you can see, the box is right behind this one. Okay, let me just do one last thing and take the third link. Take the third link, put here, put here. Okay, 1 2 3 and say 4. Okay, so what's going on here? By default, the div elements, they are having a, let's say, a CSS property, which is display block. Let me quickly change their background. Let me just highlight all div elements so that what I'm saying, it can be clear. Let's change the background color. Maybe there's a spelling mistake. Color. Let's change to this one. Save. Let's see. So as you are new in CSS, maybe you might ask yourself why I've got like the elements in my DOM or in my HTML page, but they are behaving differently. As you can see that this box 2 is the same as this box 1, but as you can see that it doesn't conform to aligning itself horizontally, just like these element link 1, the image, and link 2. As you can see, link 3 and link 4, they also continue with being aligned next to each other. So we can just theoretically say that whenever you put an element in your HTML document, it has a default style. It has some default properties that it comes with that you will have to override. This is one of the things that I think gave me a tough time when I was learning CSS. It gave me a tough time. I didn't understand that these elements, they have got their own default styles. Okay, let's override those styles. Okay, first of all, let's inspect and look at the first div with the name box 1. So what we are going to do here, okay, as you can see, this is where these boxes are styled. So I'm gonna add an attribute there, a CSS style, which is display. Automatically it's display block. As you can see, there is nothing that is going to change on the divs, on all of our divs, because by default it's display block, so it comes as a default display. Now let's change this to inline and see what will happen. Now as you can see, one might feel like now our divs have changed their width. And my answer to that will be no, the default, the div element didn't change the width, but we have changed the display property. So instead of now taking the whole area by default, now they are behaving like the link and what? Like the link and the image. Now they are inline. So it means that if we can go back to the default here, which is block, it means that the difference between the default style of a div and the default style of a link is that this one, it displays inline by default, and the div element display block by default. So I hope now this is becoming clear to you. Now what we can do, we have manipulated the display of the div element. Now let's target the a tag, which is this one. So let's just add a display of block. As you can see, now we have changed the default behavior of a link tag so that it conforms to, or it behaves like the div or this paragraph. As you can see now, these links, they've got a display of block. What is a display of block? A display of block, when you put an element into your HTML, it fills the entire row by default, so that when you put another element, it must go behind this one. When you put another element, it must go behind this one. So in closing, whenever you put your HTML tags, whenever you put your HTML tag in an HTML document, please note that they have some sort of default behaviors. They have some sort of a default behaviors. A bonus to this video will be, if you notice here in this body, we are having a padding. Let's just inspect it. You see the orange part. Let me show you here. As you can see, this orange part here, this orange part, it's something that is there that we didn't set. As you can see, it has got some sort of the margin. You see this margin, you see. So this is something that we really didn't do. We didn't set this up. So this means that some element in HTML, not some element, HTML comes with a default margin and padding. So can we override that? Yes. Let's quickly override that. Let's come. Oh, okay. Here we have put a margin of 40. Okay. Let's just quickly refresh. Okay. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, HTML elements, they come with a default padding. What is a default padding? Since we have removed that margin that we put there, now you can see that these elements don't fit to the edge of the body. There is this small gap. It comes as a default padding. Also, this is something that gave me a tough time when I was new in CSS and HTML. So what we're going to do, we are going to take a universal selector and tell that all the HTML elements, that they must have a padding of 0. So it means that everything that we put in the HTML file as an HTML element, it will have a padding of 0. Now let's look at the difference. Okay, no difference. And moment, I wonder what happened. Let's just go back and check. Okay, I'm on my CSS style. Yes, everything is there. Okay, the universal selector, so everything must have a padding of 0. Save that. The other thing that you can always check is to clear your cookies so that your browser can refresh. Okay, so that your browser can refresh. Let's clear the cookies. Okay, go back. Okay, go back. Let's refresh and see. Okay, suppose based on what we have done. So, oh, okay, I forgot also the margin, padding and margin. Let's also see this before we go to inspect. There is a default padding and also the default margin, so we have to set these. So before we go and inspect to see what might be the problem, as you can see. So now what was the problem here? It was the margin of this inside element. This element inside had some margin. So the best practice, you must always override these so that your document can look like this, instead of having a document that has already got some default style that goes within the HTML tags. Otherwise, for me, Matthew Msingati, that's about it. Please do me a favor and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for that.